Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tablas Creek semi-weekly Instagram live broadcast. I am Jason Haas, as always. My guest this week is, he's a legend everywhere, but he's obviously a really crucial person here at Tablas Creek. He's a really important person in my life, and this is, of course, Francois Perrin, one of our founders, good friend of my dad's. And of mine, really. Somebody who has influenced me in the way that I think about wine in so many ways over my entire life. So I could not wait. I could not be more excited to talk to him and to give you all a chance to hear a little of his story. But as I always do, well, we are waiting for people to join. I'm going to share a few pictures of what's going on here at the winery. So we are in this in-between stage where we've got kind of still some fall colors on the vines. We've got some green grass. We've got, you can see the results from the rain that we got last month. But we are also trying to get ready for what we know is coming. It's been sunny for the last 3 weeks. But there's big rain coming. It looks like around Christmas. It's going to start raining maybe as soon as the end of this weekend. So we're going out. We're making sure that we have straw or reeds from our wetlands that we've laid down on areas that might be prone to erosion, just so we're ready. We've also gotten the sheep back out in the vineyard. I want to show you a little before and after. So a lot of the vineyard, because we've moved to no-till and because it was so wet last winter, we had a lot of continued growth of grasses and things like that happened after we had to move the sheep out of the vineyard because of bud break. So there's lots of the vineyard that looks like this. This is a Counoise block. So we've been moving the sheep in and now getting them to graze down the growth from last year. We're moving them quickly, so they're only in any block for like 24 hours maximum before we move them because there's not a ton of grass out there. And we don't want them to overgraze anything, but still, it's fun. But we've got a whole bunch of lambs. The voices, we shared a video with some of the lamb singing out there, which is really fun. If it should be on Instagram from a couple of days ago. In the kind of central parts of the vineyard, we have been really excited to see the continued blooming of a lot of the biodynamic plantings that we put in and that we kept irrigated last summer. This is one of the things that we've been trying to do is make sure that there are flowers blooming in the vineyard year round. And at this time of year, otherwise it's pretty dry out there. So walking around and seeing that is pretty exciting. And that's, I think, pretty much it for what's going on in the vineyard. In the winery, we just finished a bottling. We bottled the Esprit Blanc from 2022, which is exciting. And even more exciting, if you look, this is the first wine with the ROC Gold. We became the first winery in the world to get the gold level, the highest level of the ROC certification back in 2022. So all of our estate wines that will be released next year are going to have this on it. So look forward to that. I'm really excited to having those out in the world. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to invite Francois to join. Let me see if he is in here already. So Francois. Okay, Francois, I'm sending through and he joins. We did not have the opportunity to do a test, so I'm trusting that this will magic.
Hi, Jason.
Hello, Francois. How are you?
Very well, and you?
I'm doing well. Are you in France right now?
Yes, exactly. I am
It
in
looks like a
France.
very French wall behind you. It does not look like
I am.
California.
I am in my home because it's late now.
It is, I
nine
know.
o'clock. 9 o'clock is late for me.
But thank you for staying up to have a conversation.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope my English is not terrible, but I hope it's going well.
It is lovely as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I there's so many things I want to ask you about. Some of which I've heard parts of the story, but maybe not the whole story. But I would love to start at the beginning. What When you were growing up in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Beaucastel was, I mean, it was prominent, but not nearly to the level that it is today. Did you know that you wanted to be a part of the family business from when you were young?
When I was young, I was all time very interesting in winemaking, in wine growing, and then everywhere. But I'm not sure at the beginning I want to be involved in a business. But my dad passed away very young because he have only 57 years old, and I am only 24 years old. And because this was so sudden, so rapidly, that I decided to come back, and slowly I will be in charge of Beaucastel, and slowly and slowly I will be involved in this wine business,
Um,
and that's
and
it.
and did you feel like so did you feel like you had a choice, or did you feel like you really needed to in order that the family business would be
No,
successful?
no. I'm very interesting to produce wine since a long time but I expect to do perhaps something before to come so early in a wine business. But I've no the possibility, and I decide to come, and I love my work and love what I'm doing. And this year was my 45 vinification. It's a long way now.
It's amazing. Um, and so it's still, I mean, Famille Perrin and Beaucastel is still, now it's a family business with an even larger family, with all three of your kids, and of course Jean-Pierre, your brother, and all four of his kids. It's it must have been really fascinating to watch grow from where it was to where it is now, and to include so many of the family.
Exactly. We're beginning with Jean-Pierre at Beaucastel, and also with different wine, and especially with La Vieille Ferme. And slowly, with the work, the work is growing. And we decide with my brother Jean-Pierre to create a company able to accept a part of the family. And slowly, our kids decide to come, and the company is growing and growing. And today we work. Jean-Pierre and I, we beginning to work less, and our kids, my three boys, and the three boys and the girl of Jean-Pierre take care of the company now.
It's
And you you know we are nine, and seven kids between the youngest César 33 and the oldest Mark 53 or 54 are in charge of this business. That means seven of the new generation take care of this company, and this company, because the force is there, are growing.
Yeah. And then there will be a next generation. How many are there in the next generation?
I have nine grandchildren, and eight grandchildren, and Jean-Pierre nine. That means there are 17 for the future generation, but who knows for the future what is going.
So, do you remember the first time that you met my dad?
Oh yes, it was in Beaucastel. I think it was perhaps the first time that I worked in Beaucastel. It was in '78, or even no, no, it's not true because I meet your dad with my father Jacques because with my father Jacques Bob come often, but I was very young. I think it was I am 10 or 12 years old, no more. And you know, in France we have a sort of dinner at home, and Bob was there with my mom and my father, and I was here because it's very traditional to have a dinner together. And I was a kid, and I think I met your father between in 60, 60, 69, 70 perhaps, I don't know exactly when. And after I meet in Beaucastel when I'm charged in Beaucastel after 78. And I think I meet and we're beginning to speak with Bob in 78 about the business, but it was the second time.
And when did you make your first visit to the United States with him?
I think we speak when Bob visits us, we speak all time about the California, the weather of California seems like a Rhone Valley. We have the same trees, we have the same herbs, we have the same nature, and you know the weather seems the same. We have a sort of a Mediterranean life, and we say we Bob, you know, in California they grow mostly the grapes for Bordeaux and for Burgundy, but it will be interesting to try and to grow some Rhone varietals because it seems to be more similar that
Yeah.
it is in Rhone Valley. And we speak about during a long time is necessary to do something. And I think it was my first visit, perhaps with Jean-Pierre in Vermont, beginning, and after in California. I think it was in the I don't know exactly, but it was in 83, 84, or something like that. And
And do you
after we did, excuse me.
no, go ahead.
And after we decide to visit all the Rhone Rangers in California, and we visit everywhere all the Rhone Rangers. We go in the mountain, in the Sierra foothills, in everywhere. We visit Randall, we visit a lot of people. And one day we want to find a chalky soil because Beaucastel is very chalky, and we want to find something similar. And one day we go in a car, and we go near Paso Robles on the Peachy Canyon Road, and we see the I don't know the name, but the ground close to the road, and he said, this is we want to do this style of soil. It was very rocky with very chalky, and slowly we visit Tablas. We go in East Coast, we go in the West Coast, and we meet the people here, and we think the West Coast was a good location, and we found a parcel, and this become Tablas.
For
It was a
anyone
story.
who, for anyone who wants to scroll back in our Instagram archives, I found that spot on Peachy Canyon Road a few years ago, and did a little live broadcast from there, where you can see the cliff of chalk that goes up, I don't know, 100 feet there. It's so, I mean, when I drove by it, like I knew right away, oh, right, this is the spot that that you and Jean-Pierre and my dad saw and
Exactly.
decided, like, we're close. This is close. What was Paso Robles like at that point? What do you remember of Paso Robles in
It was a cowboy country. For a Frenchman, it was a really cowboy country. You know, it was. There are no restaurants. There are nothing except McDonald's, perhaps, or something like that. But it was very yes, and Paso Robles was very small, and for Frenchmen it was a country, a California country of cowboy. For me, it's an image, you know, but no more. And
Yeah,
it was very interesting for us.
have you been surprised with how Paso Robles has developed in the last 30
Oh,
years?
oh yes, it's incredible. It's incredible. The evolution of Paso, it's crazy because you know when we beginning Tablas, there are no vineyard, no, just a few vineyards. We meet John Munch in Paso, and we was also in east part near the airport. And
Right.
I remember in this part it was very hot because we go outside of the car, and it was so hot that we say, what is this? And and John say, you know, is you have the two part, but the best part for you, what you want to express, I think it's a part in a mountain because you want to find this place, I think, and you need to go. And we go to the west coast, and we found Tablas. But the evolution of Paso, it's incredible because you know we was not the first, but one of the first to grow some vineyard in Paso. There are very few people to know about the vineyard, to know about the winemaking, and it was at the beginning a very good challenge. But today, you know, it's incredible because we never mind that the evolution was so intense.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to my dad about in the beginning why we didn't have a tasting room. And one of
Yeah.
was it's not the French model, but also part of it was like the idea that Paso Robles would be a destination where millions of people would come to discover wine. It seemed like a dream. It seemed impossible in the early years.
Yeah, no. At this time, you know, everybody think the wine of California come from to Napa, to Sonoma, and Paso was not known that it was, but you know, for the Rhone Valley, it's exactly the same in France because everybody 40 or 50 years ago think about Burgundy and Bordeaux, and the Rhone Valley was not known that it was like it was today. But for Paso, it was the same history, but 25 years later, but no more.
That's a really interesting comment. I hadn't thought about that, but you're totally right. I mean, that is, I mean, if you, when you think of when my dad started his importing career, he started importing from Burgundy and Bordeaux, and that was really it. It wasn't until he'd been doing it for 10 or 15 years that he started exploring other regions, that he visited Beaucastel for the first time and added Beaucastel to the portfolio. And even then, he would talk about how there were very few estates in Châteauneuf-du-Pape estate bottling their wines because there was so little market for estate bottled Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Exactly. But you know, I think the history why Burgundy and Bordeaux was so known because the history was there. I think the English people give the image to Bordeaux at all the world, and the Duc de Bourgogne also gives the image in all of Europe of Burgundy. And certainly the reason why Bordeaux and Burgundy was known everywhere at the beginning. And the Rhone, it was a way to go, but except the Pope, excuse me, in 20th century stay in the Rhone Valley, but it's a way to go, and we have no something history to in a new word to give the image of the Rhone, and the quality of the wine gives the image of the Rhone, and after slowly and slowly the Rhone was known.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely right, and I just hadn't ever thought of it in that way.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, obviously you had an idea for what Tablas Creek would be when you started it 35 years ago. What has surprised you? What are the things that happened as you expected at Tablas, and what has been a surprise?
Oh yes, you know, it's. I think you know, everybody in France speak about a terroir, a terroir. All the wine in France are produced on the terroir. And for me, terroir is four things. It's the grapes, it's the weather in the same place, it's a soil, but it's also the same, the man with the habits. And for me, you know, today, Tablas, after 20, 30 years, it's a terroir because we find the grapes, we have plenty of grapes. The soil, we have this characteristic of soil. The weather is there, and the man with the habits, with your work, with the work of the team of Tablas, are able to produce a great wine. And I'm very, very, for me, impressed by the quality of the wine, because the wine of Tablas is very singular, because it's come from to California. It's not a French wine like Rhone Valley. He have his own personality,
Yeah.
and it's a reason why is a vin de terroir, because the personality of Tablas is there. Somebody like Tablas, somebody don't like Tablas. It's not a problem, but the personality is there, and you know, you can love everybody, but you can love everybody, but Tablas are a characteristic of a great wine, and I think the success. It's one of the reasons of success of Tablas.
Thank you. Are there grapes that have done differently, like grapes or styles, whites or reds, or like are there grapes that you feel show differently, particularly differently at Tablas Creek than what you were expecting, or what they're like in the Rhone?
Yes, I think we have difference. We have difference. We have difference with the Grenache. You know, the color and the intensity is different that we are in France that we have in Tablas. The global character are different. I can't explain why, but when we test with the same grapes, we have a sort of cousin character, but it's not the same. And all time when you test a Mourvèdre, if you test blind, I know that it is a Mourvèdre, or this is a Grenache, or the Roussanne, but it's not the same because each part of France, of each part of California, are their own expression for me.
Great. Like otherwise, why do this? So it's important that be true. There's plenty of grapes in the Rhone Valley. We don't need to be a copy of the Rhone, but
No,
the idea that the grapes are expressing their place, that must feel really good, that like 34 years later after you started, that there is that you found a terroir, you found a personality that is showing through these grapes into
it's
the wine.
true. It's true, and I think it's important. The personality of Tabas is very, very characteristic. I think the wine, it's the wine that we like. Uh, for me, the wine of Tablas is different of the Rhone, but the French style, it, it's I don't know why. I don't know why because, but it's a characteristic of a great old world style. You understand what I mean? Conform to the new world, but uh, the wood is not present. The different things and the style is there, and is the reason why I like very very much Tablas.
Lovely. Can you talk a little bit about the new cellar, the construction of the new Beaucastel?
Yes, it's a lot of work because we decided to create a new winery to remodelate the winery because during 50 years my mother lived in Beaucastel and we decided to don't work to don't make some work because she don't like to have a lot of troubles and we decided to do nothing in Beaucastel. But she passed away 6 years ago and we decide to remodelate because we need to remodelate and we make we decide to organize I don't know the name, but a concourse
Competition.
with a competition with architects and a mondial architect, and we have a lot of response. We have more than 100 of answers to decide to do something. And slowly we decide to keep only 10 and 5. And on the five architects decide to come and to present our project. And we decide to go with Indian architect because you want to have a ecological approach. And we decide to create the new winery with the ground of Beaucastel because we make a big hole and we keep all the ground of Beaucastel and we decide to grow the wall without iron but with the terroir of Beaucastel. That means we put the terroir of Beaucastel vertical. And also we decided to create some cistern, some tank to keep the rainwater and to store the rainwater 10 meters under the ground. And with the wind to come, we decide to refresh all the cellar with a natural wind to go in the water at 14 degrees Celsius. I don't know the name, the temperature in Fahrenheit
50,
because
50 more or less. So
well, yes, 50.
perfect.
And all the cellar will be cooled by the wind and by the temperature of water. And we it's a very traditional construction, but with a very old technique. But today it's a very modern construction too.
It sounds so exciting. Just the idea that you can use the Mistral, which is blowing so much of the year, and those cisterns of water, the cistern of water to cool the cellar. It makes so much sense.
Exactly.
But it's
And we
been it's been now what,
no,
2 years construction?
yes, it was 2 years, and we need 1 year. We expect to finish in September 24,
Just
and perhaps to organize something in October, November 24, to a reception, well,
celebration.
but the celebration, exactly.
Yeah, well, you will deserve to celebrate after.
We need, but it's a lot of work and some troubles too.
Always, it's impossible to do
Oh,
construction without challenges. It's
exactly.
um. So back to the family question. Um, did you how do you? It must be a challenge when you know you want to continue a business through multiple generations to make sure that the next generation comes ready to work and ready with skills and experiences that are valuable for the family. How can you talk a little bit about how, as a family, you make sure that the next generation is ready to contribute?
Yes, I think we are very lucky first, because the seven members of the new generation are in the same way. The relationship with the seven are very good, and they go together in the same way. And we have a devise, device, no, in the devise. I don't know device. In the family, I need to remember exactly. It's we need to cultivate our roots. We need to dream. We need to dream the impossible, and we try to do it in family. It's and it's this device helps to everybody to go in the same way. We cultivate again. We cultivate our roots. We dream the impossible, and we try to do in family.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, I feel so lucky that I get to work with that family
So,
on everything that we do at Tablas Creek. It's a pleasure and an honor.
but Jason and the house, we are in the same part of the family.
But it, it is a partnership, which
Exactly.
which
Yes, but it's a partnership, but it's even a family partnership, because since the relation that we have with your family was so strong that they help a lot of things to resolve.
I mean,
You know?
yep, I do. Um, we got one question that came in while we were talking that I'd love you to talk a little bit about, because I know the story only secondhand. But can you talk about the process of bringing the grapevines in from France into the United States? Because I know it was, I think it was a really important decision at the beginning not to just live with whatever grapevines were here in California, but instead to bring in new cuttings of all of the principal varieties. Can you talk about how you came to that decision and how how you actually got the vines legally into the country?
Yes, you know, during our different place, the different visit in the vineyard in California, we test different grapes, mostly Grenache, and the Grenache. We think it's not the same. It was the same name, but it was not the same grapes that we have in the Rhone. And we think we need to beginning a new vineyard, but with good grapes. And we try to find how to import some wood. And at the beginning, we have the possibility to take we to be in what is the name to contact Station Experimentale of Geneva, Geneva, State of New York,
Yep.
and Geneva are able to test the vine to be sure they are completely free of virus. And we decide to bring some wood of Grenache, some wood of Mourvèdre at the beginning, and to send to Geneva because they said, okay, we can index and to see if you are able to sell in California. And this indexation take 3 years because during 3 years they're doing some 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 experimentation, some grafting to see what is going on. And after 3 years, they gave this back two or three small piece of wood like this, and they say, okay, you can multiplicate it, and if you want, you can use in your vineyard. And with Bob, we have three piece of wood, and we say, okay, it's good, but to create a vineyard, and to multiplicate we need to take 20 years or and we decide to do some green propagation, and there's a reason why we build some greenhouses in Tablas to beginning the green propagation. That means the vine is growing, and we replant the small green vine in other part, and slowly we go faster. And slowly and slowly we beginning to create Tablas vineyard with the grapes that we import legally. And after we have the possibility to index in Davis in a second time. And after the wood go not in Geneva, go in Davis to be sure they are completely free. And the period of indexation was a little shorter after that.
Only 2 years instead of 3.
Only 2 years. We win 1 year, but it was completely experimental, and we have a lot of troubles, a lot of different things, but at the end, it's working.
And now there are cuttings of those Beaucastel vines in hundreds and hundreds of vineyards in California and Washington and Oregon and now Texas and Virginia. It's
Exactly.
must feel pretty good that sort of your vines, your children sort of are now all over the United States and making a whole movement possible.
Exactly. And produce good wine.
Amazing. Well, Francois, thank you so much for taking a piece of your Wednesday evening to have this conversation. It is always a pleasure. I hope that you and Isabel and the rest of the family have a lovely Christmas. And we'll look forward to seeing you early in the year.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Jason. It was a very pleasure to speak with you and to explain a small part of history of Tablas.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.